We now pick up from chapter 12. Koenig has returned from an encounter with a Tritonian machine, and it's given him a warning. Bergman met them as they left the Eagle. He smiled as he gripped Koenig's hand. "Good to see you back, John. And you too, Alan." "Thanks to your screen. I'd better go and report to Anderson. If I don't, he'll be coming after me with a wrench." As the pilot left, Koenig said, "Helena?" "She's fine. No sign of anything wrong. Matthias is rechecking her now." She smiled as Koenig entered the diagnostic unit, extending her hands, their touch soft and warm. "John, it's over now?" "Over." He glanced at Matthias. The doctor pointed to a cranial scan he had set on the illuminated panel. "Look for yourself, Commander. Not a trace of that energy nodule she carried. She's fine. Not a thing to worry about." He sobered as he saw Koenig's expression. "No? I'm not sure. That thing told me something before it went. A threat or a warning. I'm not sure which. But it said that we were all heading for certain destruction." "A bluff?" "It was a machine, Victor. Machines don't bluff, and they don't lie. I think it was trying to justify its action in letting us go. The logic of a machine: save itself at no real cost, obey its orders in a fashion, and yet make the best of a situation. It must have had a survival drive built into it, otherwise my threats wouldn't have worked." "Just what did it say, John?" Koenig frowned, thinking, remembering. He said slowly, "We are taking a path which will lead us to certain destruction. A dark area which we cannot avoid. A black sun." "A black sun?" Bergman looked thoughtful. "But one so close to the solar system? Did it say just when we would meet it?" "No." "Which means that it could be months from now, or years." "Or days." "No, John, not days. A black sun would have a tremendous mass. It would affect the orbits of the system if it were too close, and we would have spotted it years ago. We should have seen it occlude the stars, if nothing else. The galactic drift—" He broke off, musing. "A black sun," he murmured. "Most stars have planets, so where would they have gone? There is an inconsistency here, John. Are you certain the thing said a black sun?" "That's what it told me." "Does it make any difference?" Helena looked from one to the other. "If it's there and we're heading towards it, the end will be the same no matter what it is. Complete and utter destruction. The gravity will be enormous. We'll be crushed to slime. The base, the entire moon, all will shatter into dust." Matthias said, "If it's there. We can't be sure about that, and, as Victor said, it could be years away, decades. Time for us to find an escape, perhaps." The doctor was an optimist. A false emotion, perhaps, but one he was determined to maintain. "We found one new world, and there could be others. Why talk about dying before we actually see the grave?" A good point, and one Koenig encouraged. Morale had to be kept high. "You're right, Bob. I'm jumping at shadows. That thing operated on a cycle different from ours. A year, much longer, for example. Soon to it could be centuries to us. And it didn't say soon, it just said it would happen. Victor, let's go and check that shield." Anderson was incredulous. "It worked," he said. "It operated just as you predicted. I've checked as far as I can, and there's no sign of crystallization or stress fractures in any part of the structure. A little impact damage on the hull, but Alan tells me that wasn't due to the shield." "No," said Koenig dryly. "It wasn't." "Light, which acted like a grab," said the engineer. "Radiation, which acted as if it were a solid." He shook his head, baffled. "How the hell did they manage it? I'd give 10 years of my life to have the chance to inspect their generators." Generators which, perhaps, had broken loose on the homeworld, Energies released in a ravening fury, spatial strains which had snapped like a rubber band to hurl Triton into some unknown region. They would never know. Koenig said, "Victor, could your shield be extended to cover a larger area?" "I guess so. The trouble is that we're up against spherical projection. Double the distance and you need far more than twice the power. It's a matter of surface area." "I know, but could you do it?" "Given time, yes." "It's a matter of design." "Why, John? Are you thinking of building a larger eagle?" "No." Bergman apparently had not heard. "It's a possibility," he mused. "We'd need to strip the base of all metallic elements and set up foundries, and then we'd have to arrange facilities for storage and recycling. Power, too. That would have to be based on both drive needs and life support systems." His hands twitched as if he felt an imaginary slide rule. "I'd have to do a lot of figuring as to logistics and design. 300 people take a lot of room." "Too much," said Koenig impatiently. "I'm not talking about building a ship to evacuate the base. We can't do it as yet, and we may never be able to do it. No, I'm talking about shielding Alpha. Could it be done?" Anderson said, "Shield the base? That's crazy." "That's no answer. Could it be done?" "I guess so, if the professor could work out the design. My boys can build anything given time. Time and materials. We can't produce alloys from thin air, Commander." "We can cannibalize." "Sure we can." Anderson looked hurt. "But to build what? We need a plan before we can start." "You'll get your plan," said Koenig. "Just start gathering material. Check on every item and set aside all duplicates and spares. Find out what can be taken without loss of safety. Make a list." In his laboratory, Bergman said, "John, what's on your mind?" "A shield for the base." "So you said, but why?" "Call it an umbrella," said Koenig dryly, "to keep out the rain. The important thing is, can it be done?" "I don't know." Bergman ruffled his hair, looking a little like a bedraggled lion. "It's the math," he complained. "This thing is new, John, barely tested. I'll have to work out effective ranges, overlaps, power needs, compensators, insulation. A total new scientific approach. The computer will help, naturally, but it can only do the donkey work." "And you will provide the intuitive genius." Koenig crossed the room to stand looking at the framed award of the Nobel Prize. He said flatly, "Victor, what do you know about a black hole?" "You mean a black sun?" "Call it that if you like, but we both know it's a misnomer. A star, a sun, can be relatively dark. It's even been theorized that it can be dead, a burned-out cinder. But if one exists, we've never found it and probably never will. Suns don't act that way. The atomic reactions which cause them to radiate light and heat are understood. The Phoenix reaction, which creates helium and uses the excess energy so obtained to maintain the high temperatures associated with any star. So, tell me about a black hole." Bergman said, as if addressing a class of students, "A star, basically, is a fusion engine, in which hydrogen is converted into helium, aided by the catalytic action of carbon and nitrogen. The internal temperatures are immense, and the distance of the outer layer from the core is maintained by the sheer volume of radiation produced by the thermonuclear reaction. Now, when a smallish star uses up its nuclear fuel, not enough radiation is produced to maintain that distance. The star then collapses into a smaller bulk and becomes what we know as a white dwarf. A star much smaller than the original and hot because of condensed energy. A larger star, one about half as large again as our own sun, will collapse into itself until it winds up as a mass of neutronium. Neutronium is the most dense matter which can exist in our universe. It is composed of neutrons packed as tightly as they can get, and the bulk of such a star will end as a ball of neutronium about 6 miles across." "And a larger star?" "When such a star collapses, something odd happens, and we aren't sure exactly what. The gravity of the compacted mass increases until it becomes so great that it passes the Schwarzschild radius. The Schwarzschild radius is the point at which the gravity is so high that nothing can escape from it. Nothing at all. Solid matter, electromagnetic energy, light itself are all held fast. The star is gone then, but the mass remains as a kind of field, a warp in the normal space-time continuum. The latest theory suggests that it can form a door into somewhere. Somewhere? John, I don't know into what or where, said Bergman flatly. No one does. No one will do until they go through and return to tell what they found. Maybe it's impossible to pass through. As I say, we simply don't know. There was too much they didn't know. Koenig turned from the framed award. That machine talked about a black sun. If it was right, literally right, then we haven't a hope in hell if we get dragged into its gravity field. We'll end just as Helena said, crushed, pulped, everything smashed to dust. Even if the anti-grav shield protects the base, the rest of the moon will be affected and will be buried. But if it isn't a black sun, if it is a black hole, I don't know, said Bergman slowly. But if the shield can maintain our environment, John, I simply don't know. Koenig paced, thinking hard. Just think of it. A hole, a warp in our universe, a doorway leading into a different region, a pit of darkness into which everything attracted by the tremendous gravitation must fall. If the original mass has been transformed into an etheric field, then normal laws needn't apply. With the shield, we might stand the smallest of chances. It's a gamble, but one we might win. Victor, how long will it take to formulate the plans? Days, weeks, I don't know. Bergman looked harassed. Damn you, John. Why dump this into my lap? Who else? But the time. We must assume the worst. It could be years or decades, but I don't think so. The Tritonian machine was confident that we wouldn't survive, and too much could happen in that time. Koenig pushed a mass of papers at the other man, graphs, equations, rough designs. Think in terms of days, Victor, hours even. Use every resource of the base, but get that shield built. Get it working before we hit whatever is waiting for us. It's the only chance we have.